السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. اليوم إن شاء الله غنشوفو التحليل ديال نوفيلا The Perils of Certain English Prisoners. غتشوفو الإساي اللي خدمت. أنا خدمت على زوج ديال themes False Consciousness و Racism. بالنسبة للعنوان اختاريت Worse Comes to Worst، من سيء لأسوأ، حيت جيل كان عايش في واحد الوضع اللي ما راضيش عليه، الفقر والإهانة والضرب من الأب ديالو، عاد مرتبة متدنية في الجيش، وانتقل لما هو أسوأ، أنه ولا راضي بهذا الوضع false consciousness. الهوك درت هاد القولة ديال جورج برنارد شو All great art and literature is propaganda. من بعد درت تعريف بسيط بالقصة والكاتبين ديالها والزمان والمكان، وأهم شيء وهو الغاية لاش تكتبت هاد النوفيلا. Written in 1857 by the outstanding English writer Charles Dickens in collaboration with Wilkie Collins, The Perils of Certain English Prisoners is an adventure story narrated through the first-person point of view by Gill, a private in the Royal Marines. In a realist mode, the events of the novella take place in South America, more exactly the Mosquito Coast, back in 1744 during the Indian Mutiny. The novella is specifically written to manipulate low-class opinion against the imperialism project and convince the poor to join the army. بالنسبة للتيسيس ستيتمنت درت فيها زوج ديال التيمز اللي غنناقش class consciousness و racism. Throughout the story, a number of themes flow to the top, the most significant of which are class consciousness and racism in relation to colonialism. الفقرة الأولى في البادي. At the very beginning of the story, Gill is depicted as an ordinary uneducated person from a lower class who suffers inferiority. He himself lists some distressing facts about his hard and harsh life. Not only is he from a poor family, he also is beaten and starved as well as abandoned by his father. The beadle in his part neglects him. These compelling circumstances push him to work at an early age. And now, as he is a private in the Royal Marines, being uneducated is his obstacle preventing him from promotion in the army. Gill's attentiveness to the class stratification and lack of opportunity in the English society leads him to hold a grudge against the upper-class society and England as a whole. His surprising answer to Miss Marian is a straightforward example of this. England is not much to me, miss, except as a name. هاد الجملة هي أهم جملة في النوفيلا كاملة، حيت هنا فين غيبدا shift of perspective ملي غادي تحاول ميس ماريان تقنعو بالعكس، وبالفعل تبدل الرأي ديالو وندم على الأفكار السلبية كاملة اللي كانت عنده تجاه الأبر كلاس. She then convinces him to consider the honor of serving in the military and defending the country and forget about promotion and class enhancements. Gill later on adopts this false consciousness and regrets every single negative thought against the rich. He furthermore rejects money given to him, which stresses the change of perspective and attitude, even though he gets nothing from joining the army except for being wounded. هنا concluding sentence اللي في نفس الوقت transition للفقرة الثانية. Class consciousness as a theme being discussed here is closely related to racism, our following one, which is a result of illiteracy, poverty and dissatisfaction. الفقرة الثانية فيها الثيم ديال racism واللي كانت بارزة ضد سامبوز خاصة كريستيان جورج كينغ و ميسيس بيلتوت. Within the story, the colonial discourse fosters racism as an overriding problem. Noticeably, the superiority complex is practiced by the colonists who live comfortably in houses represented as a miniature image of England. They benefit from all the riches of the island and exploit the natives. Moreover, They impose their culture, language, as well as way of life on the Indians, who are as a result subject to suppression and oppression. The ideology of white supremacy is in its part displayed through racism against the Sambos, who are half Negro and half Indians. Christian George King, for instance, is dehumanized due to his race and incorrect English. Very sorry, yep so chair. هادو أمثلة ديال الجمل اللي كان كيقول في النوفيلا. He is described as a dog and deprived from subjectivity since he always refers to himself in the third person. Mrs. Beltot also, who has a hybrid identity, is depicted as a toy with a fragmented body. I never saw a woman like a toy. She is Miss Marion's maid, which means that her value lies in serving her masters. This master-slave relationship between the English and natives flouts the civilizing mission, which is the prominent justification for every colonizer to seize land and property. Conclusion هي هذه. As can be seen, on one hand, Miss Marion, who represents the upper-class society, succeeds in deceiving Gill, who represents the opinion of English lower class. She flips his position on its head, which leads him to accept his miserable life as it is and neglect any call for change or improvement. Gill's racism against non-English people, on the other hand, is kept, and he continues despising the natives of the island without any attempt to correct his obnoxious attitude. Overall, the pursued objective of this work is done, and the mission is successfully completed. هادشي اللي كاين. ملي تكونوا تكتبوا الى تعطى سؤال عادي كتجاوبوا عادي، ولكن الى تعطى مقتطف من القصه ضروري تربط الإساي ديالك بداك المقتطف. وديما التحليل كيكون بسيمبل بريزنت، وطبعا الجرامر والبانكتويشن راه باينين. شكرا على المشاهده وبالتوفيق للجميع.